Boom. We're back.
We're back, baby.
We're back. I'm excited. We're here at the top 8. Are you ready?
I'm ready. You know what I'm ready for? A warm 8.
A warm
A
8.
temperate 8.
A not so ice heavy
We
8.
ain't got no ice in this
No
8.
ice.
Welcome back, everybody, to the AGE Open here in. I never know if it's Redondo or Lawndale. There seems like there's some
Redondo Beach?
Lawndale. It's both. We're on Redondo Boulevard in Lawndale. I was just told by my
Perfect.
producer. But you know what? You know who doesn't care about that? Any of you. Because what you care about is flesh and blood. So let's talk about that. We've got an iceless top 8. Let's go ahead and look at the brackets here. We've got the 1 seed and the 8 seed coming up for you in just a moment with Bryce Platz on Lexi Livewire. We did see him on stream earlier. And then Capolo, Andrea Biaggi. I don't know if that's how I should say it, but he's on Dash today.
Nice.
Followed up by Aria and Alan in the 4 and the 5 slot, and then Alejandro and John. We've got a mirror match in that round, as well as a mirror match in the 2 and 7 seeds with the 2 Dromais paired into each other. If I had to guess, I don't think either of them are happy about that.
They've already played each other earlier in the bracket, from my understanding, and it's a grindy match. I know both of them, just a mental grind from playing 6 rounds down to the top 8. It's going to be, I think, who can keep sharp.
Yeah.
It's they're definitely feeling the heat.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're really excited to get into this top 8. Super interesting. We've got Olivia in there. We've got Dorinthia, and then a couple Azaleas, couple Dromais. Those 2 decks, 2 of the most represented of the field.
Yep.
And then a bunch of these other little 1-ofs and 2-ofs that snuck in. So we're going to be getting ready momentarily.
We know that one of them is going to be a Dromai win, one of them is going to be an Azalea win already. He's going to move on.
We do know that. The semifinals will have 1 Dromai and 1 Azalea.
Yeah.
But the game we have for you in just a moment is Bryce Platz on the 1 seed, Lexi Livewire versus Andrea Biaggi on Dash, Inventor, Extraordinaire. So let's go ahead. Oh, would you look at that?
Hi, Mom.
Aww.
So proud.
I think that was Bryce giving the little smile on his face. He just put the mom out.
It's always great having friends, family support the AG event and watch the stream.
Adorable.
We're a family company for sure.
So as these players shuffle up here, Dash is a hero that if you ask my cousin Aiden, he'll tell you it's the coolest in the game. But if you want to talk about the kind of modal nature of this hero, we're in for kind of a couple different games here, depending on the equipment and the item that Capolo flips over, right?
It's very true. If he's going to come out aggressive out the gate, or if he's going to look to build that pistol and get that value game of just loading the pistol and shooting and grinding it down that health one by one. It's definitely been an interesting strat. I know looking at Capolo's list, earlier, he had movables in the list, so he might opt to be a more longer defensive setup play, but it is very interesting to see what that first item is.
Yeah, because these decks, they are one of the decks in Flesh and Blood that sideboard can really turn the deck into one of 2 entirely different things. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Capolo wants to navigate this matchup. I think sometimes it's hard to race the Lexis if they're running the really low-to-the-ground aggressive builds. We know Bryce is rocking a lot of these ice cards, which can be tough for Dash to deal with, especially if Capolo flips over a pounder here. So if we see Induction Chamber, we're going to be pointing towards a different strategy of getting those D-reacts out, forcing maybe Bryce to play for a longer game and set up a pitch stack to close this thing out on his own terms.
Yep, no, definitely. I think out the gate, though, both players are going to be looking to run out that starting line at each other and figure out how each other's play styles will go, how comfortable they are in the matchup. I think you're going to see just some big swings early, and then maybe a stabilization in the mid game as they understand, well, wow, we both took a lot of damage because both these decks could just put out massive chains.
Yep.
Massive chains with high numbers, too, on top of that. If it's Pounder, plus 3, super good.
Super good, yeah. I mean, the +2 on 3 different attacks. It's like you start the game with 6 damage just sitting on the board.
Yep.
So we are seeing a Goliath Gauntlet. We are seeing an Achilles Accelerator. But what is the all-important item that...
Pistol? Induction Chamber.
All right. So now I know Matt Rogers is keen on the Induction Chamber in lots of different matchups. He says it turns his blues into 4 damage at all times. This is one of the things he said when I had the chance to interview him back in Chicago. But so perhaps Capolo is still on a more aggressive game plan, but I did actually talk to him. when we were grabbing food, and I kind of was like, "Are you gonna race him?" And he gave me just a little head shake.
Oh.
So I think he's gonna be playing towards that pistol package. We'll have to see if he either lied to me or
or change it last
or
minute.
change it last minute. But
Yeah.
that is what that induction chamber seems to point to. So
Yep, definitely.
looks like he's gonna be on the play here, meaning that Bryce elected to let him go first because Bryce, as the first seed, was able to choose if he wanted to go first or second.
A lot of people don't know that in the top 8 scenarios, the higher seed gets to choose the order in the rules. So starting off strong with the pistol game, gonna load it. I think ideally, if he was to go first, seeing another item would have been great, but it seems like he's just throwing out some attacks. That's gonna be a throttle. It looks like a red throttle.
And looks like no boost represented. So yeah, Capolo looking to arsenal that card. This will most likely be somewhat straightforward for Bryce to block. The question is how many cards will be left over if he wants to set up an arsenal for himself for his next turn. We did see earlier in the day that Bryce attempted to use his Voltaire on the very first turn of the game and got just disgustingly punished by Arya on Dorinthia. But there's going to be none of those shenanigans here against thrown out by Capolo.
You never know. Capolo is a great deck builder. Knows Dash inside and out. I'm excited to see what kind of spice he brings to the table in this matchup. He's worked hard to get here. He's come out consistently, you know, and hit the right matchups to get here now. And facing the final boss of Lexi, which is going to be the big boogeyman, I think, of this set because you've seen her put out insane numbers.
Totally. I just meant he's got no go again, so
it's true.
There's no shenanigans on this turn.
No shenanigans on this turn. Very correct. Very straightforward turn.
I'm not trying to disrespect my man Capolo here. I know he's been.
Boost is a May option.
It's true.
You do not have to boost.
Yep. So he elects to block 3, taking 3. Or I think blocks 3, takes 3 off that hit. He's going to go ahead and then load in a Heat Seeker. Now, keeping a card in his hand and not blocking with it, so it either doesn't block, or he really wanted it on his next turn and was willing to take some damage. It does look like it is a Rain Razors in his hand there, so that was unable to be blocked with on his last turn if he wanted to load that Heat Seeker as well.
It is very true, but still a strong thing to have on your snapback turn is Rain Razors, and it looks like Endless Arrow with Heat Seekers, and even a Codex I think I've seen in his hand. So very, very strong opening from Bryce. Let's see how he can put it all together, get some cards out of Andrea's hand.
Yeah, now with the Rain Razors, he did put that Bolt and Shot in the graveyard on that last turn, so if he is able to get all the rest of the cards out of his hand, it might be tough if the Endless Arrow hits. We'll have to see how that navigates, but if he is, he would be able to put that Bolt and Shot back into his arsenal and then throw the Bolt and Shot out. If he's already played that Rain Razors, it's going to have go again, and then he could, if he has anything floating, come in with the Heat Seeker. But it looks like he's going to pitch it, so scratch everything I said. And let's just see what happens after this Voltaire is activated for the first time. It looks like it's going to be a drill shot. Most likely go again, so this is coming in 4-4.
A nice classic breakpoint, 4 drill shot on hit is going to give him a -1 counter on an armor. Obviously, Goliath Gauntlet doesn't have anything, but it'd probably be the chest piece or the helmet. Most likely the chest piece. There's the Rain Razor coming down. Going to get the -1 counter on an armor. Confirming it.
So that is pretty big here for Bryce. You're able to put that -1 block counter on one of these pieces of equipment here, and that's going to be very relevant. These cards in this matchup, you know that they're going to be used for their block value at some point.
That's definitely the space you need your armor for, is buying it when Lexi has a big turn, and then so you can slap back. But
well, and actually, I mean, if he blocks for 6, it looks like he just played it just to play, because it's not going to get any damage through here.
Oh, you're right. Yeah,
because this is coming in for 6.
That's math, man. That's 3-3.
Interesting to play it there, then, if he's going to play at some point on this turn.
Maybe he's bad at math like me and assumed that would make it hit. Because I was definitely convinced.
Me too.
He seemed convinced.
You played It looked like he was motioning towards 1.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I was very confident.
Yeah.
All right, so this one's going to be for 7, though. So this one is going to get over the 2-hand block. And this is a Heat Seeker, so a card will flip back down into his arsenal at the very end. I'm not quite sure how it works with the layering. If it comes,
I'm pretty sure you can
arsenal
Heat
2 things?
Seeker first. Yeah, I think that's how it works, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. All right. Endless Arrow.
He's going to go ahead and use the Bullseye Bracers.
Bullseye Bracers was used for the Endless Arrow. He understands that there is no more cards in hand, so this Endless Arrow is always coming back to hand. All right.
So Bryce, kind of faking us out here in the caster's booth with the sequencing on this turn. We talked about how he wanted to go about doing it. Looks like it is going to be ending the chain with that endless arrow, getting that 7 damage in for free. It's going to go right back into his hand.
How much damage was that on turn 2?
It was
turn
6
1,
and the 7 into 7, so 20. 20 off of 3 arrows.
Wow, amazing leaking damage, getting Capolo down by 8, and putting a what is it? That was a something shot. I'm pretty sure.
That is a searing shot. Or
Searing.
pathing helix? No, it's a pathing helix.
Yeah, pathing helix. So very very strong. Looks like Bryce drew another codex. Man, just drawing, and there's the endless arrow as well. Endless arrow is very scary for exactly what Bryce did. I think played correctly is you bait out the cards in hand with those first 2 arrows, and then you confirm your endless. Confirming your endless is so strong. It costs 0. You keep recycling that same pressure card. 0 for 4, super strong. If Bryce can continue to abuse that, it's gonna be really hard for Andrea to keep afloat.
Mm-hmm. Let's see how he wants to start this turn. Bryce sitting at 37 into Capolo's 32. Pathing helix in the arsenal here. Looks like he's getting ready to load with the Voltaire, pitching a second codex to the bottom. So those are going to be right
3 of a
next to each other.
kind.
Coming in with the 3 of a kind, going to draw 3 cards, and for the rest of the turn, only things from arsenal. So he did have to use his Snapdragons, I think, on that
Correct.
last turn.
He used
From the
yeah,
Heat Seeker, yeah.
for the Heat Seeker.
So those equipment are already gone. He did not use it to power some, 30-plus damage turn, as we've seen Lexi sometimes have the ability to do. But
Very true.
which means that, that Pathing Helix is going to most likely have to be a Chain Ender here if he wants to get use out of it on this turn.
Oh, he can continue to load the other arsenal slot, no?
Yeah, I'm just saying he
Yeah.
wouldn't have the go again.
On that one, yeah. Well, also, yeah, Heat Seeker doesn't have go again, I'm pretty sure, does it?
Heat Seeker itself, no, you have to.
Yeah, you have to give it that. So this one you have to do Heat Seeker, give it go again. Give it 5, go again. And I kind of like this play. So I've been seeing Rangers do this a lot more, where it's you keep that one in there because that's technically always going to be your 3rd shot because you only load twice, So having it be a finisher is no problem, especially if it's. I'm pretty sure it's free. Doesn't cost.
It costs 1.
It costs 1. Okay, got you. Three chain links with Rangers, super good.
So this is now going to be the second Voltaire activation.
Correct.
Capolo blocked for a total of 5 with the Crown of Providence and the High Octane. This is now a yellow Bolton shot, but with the +1 coming in for 4 with go again. The reload's not going to trigger because of that Pathing Helix sitting in Bryce's arsenal.
Correct. Reload is only when there is nothing in your arsenal. Then you can put something down. Man, Lexi's so strong. I think Capolo doing a very good job of blocking smart, trying to keep cards in hand for pressuring back. I don't think there's too much of a health disparity. Definitely Lexi putting out strong numbers right now, but not the end of the world. You have a Goliath Gauntlet. You have ways to your pistol to continue to press damage. Patience is definitely going to be the key as you inch closer and closer through these hail of arrows coming at you.
And there's something to be said with all of the drill shots running around out there in the top 8 and in the tournament today to using your Crown of Providence on a turn like this where it looks like he was both interested in stopping that Heat Seeker trigger, but also perhaps filtering his hand in some way or getting more cards to block with before the drill shots before a potential drill shot pressures you in such a way that you feel priced into using your crown.
I 100% agree. I think that logic's pretty good. It's kind of the same reasoning sometimes with T-Bone, which may be why Bryce was playing out his things earlier. T-Bone is being able to pull cards and get value out of you that you traditionally don't want to give. So if Andrea can line up a T-Bone on the New Horizon, it's going to be super good.
Bryce there electing not to go ahead and throw that Pathing Helix out, letting Capolo keep 3 cards in his hand. So we're going to ship it over to his turn. He's going to go ahead and play out that Plasma Purifier. It's not going to have go again, so this is just going to pass priority back to Bryce.
The gun did get bigger, though.
It certainly did. That Plasma Purifier allowing him to load it up with steam counters and then, or just the one steam counter, but once he pulls it off, that gun's going to be, or that Plasma Pistol is going to be a +1 power for the rest of the turn. So the beginnings of the pistol package at work here.
Yep, slowly building. So he's now can be able to pretty much swing for 6 with that pistol, but another Rain Razor is coming down from Bryce really early. So it makes me think what else in his hand needs to come down to that early, because you can usually just do that at instant speed unless you have like 3 of a kind.
And maybe we're going to see a 3 of a kind right here.
Oh.
Nope, we're just going to activate Voltaire. So yeah, playing that Rain Razor's face up, giving his opponent the information. All of my arrows are stronger this turn. Deal with it.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting line of play. A lot of times they can be used to get some extra damage over the top.
Yep.
But for this whole turn now, it's clear. It looks like there was no fuse here, so this is just going to be 6 vanilla damage.
Useless.
That he's happy to block. Blocking with 2, 3 blocks. All of Dash's cards pretty much block for 3, so...
Blocking 3 is very important in this meta. I've talking to people today around the venue. They're like, oh, does it block 3? I'm probably cutting it.
So using the Tunic to load with Voltaire a second time. So this was a red Bolton shot, now coming in for 7 damage, plus with the Rain Razors and with the Voltaire. He is representing an attack for 6 after this with the Pathing Helix, and then he'll have an Arsenal card to hang out on after this. So this is 7 more damage coming Capolo's way.
Yep. But seeing the second Rain Razor, so far Bryce has had 3 back-to-back power turns. First turn, Rain Razors. Second turn, 3 of a kind. Third turn, other Rain Razors. If he can keep this up, it's really hard to survive that just rain of arrows. A 7 damage arrows, 6 damage arrows, 3 coming down on the chain really adds up after a while. You only have 2 cards in hand you can block with, and some armor, but most of your blocky armor is gone.
Yeah. Well, and if what do the power turns look like from Bryce here as he does go ahead and throw that Pathing Helix? It's going to be just blocked for 6 right away.
Yep.
Bryce is going to Arsenal and pass back to Capolo, who is now at 24 here. But those power turns can look very different with this Ice Lexi deck. They can be these huge, powerful arrows, 3 to 4 chain links long, but they can also be disruptive. You can play the Channel Lake Frigids, you can play the Chilling Ice Veins, you can play the Arctic Incarcerations that we saw earlier used to devastating effect by a different Ice Lexi player.
Yep.
So he looks like at this point he just had to. Capolo did have to draw all the way back up and pass the turn back to Bryce. Tunic's going to go to 1, and Bryce is going to go to work.
I mean, some of those turns. It's just some of those turns like the Rain Razor turn 3 of a kind. You get my hand. Like you generate more value than you should be doing. I'm going to try to mitigate as much as possible. So Andrea, like I said, we're just waiting for that breathing room, waiting for that opportunity.
The thing about this dash list, too, is from my experience watching it, because my cousin Aiden plays it quite a bit, you do have to take a good bit of damage to establish those items. Capolo on his last turn did have 12 block in that hand. He was blocking with his whole hand there and still leaked, that 7 damage at the start of that turn, or in the middle of that turn. But the question is, can you be at high enough life total that you can keep yourself alive once your pistol package is all online? And at this point, he's only been able to establish 1 extra item. He just has the item that he started with in that induction chamber, and he's already down to 24. So we have to see how much blocking is he going to be able to do while still developing the pistol package. You still have to keep the blue in your hand and or have a Teklo core already out.
Yep, it's very true. And we haven't seen too many of his D-Reacts to buy him that space. He definitely has them in the deck, but is mostly drawn just his boosty cards so far.
One saving grace here for Capolo is it does look like Bryce has had a hard time fusing. I don't believe this Frostlock was fused. And this Bolton shot's now going to come in for 5.
Yep.
Unless it was. I don't know what that card was. I couldn't tell. He was reading the card like it was fused. Now this Endless Air is coming in for 4, threatening to pop on back to the hand on hit.
No go again. No 3-arrow chain. Very strong. Endless Arrow, super good. Is this the same Endless Arrow he cycled, or is this a different one? I can't remember. I think it's the same one he cycled. There's one of his D-Reacts, though. Super important to get that breakpoint, especially on Endless Arrow.
Yeah, and it looks like that Frostlock was fused because he had to pay 1 for it. Because this whole turn, if Frostlock was fused, cards and actions cost an additional 1 resource. So we had to pitch that yellow zipper hit away just to cover up the Endless Arrow with those 4 cards, with that 4 defense.
Yep. He's going to pitch to put a steam counter. And then he's probably going to use the steam counter and do a little pew-pew. Pew.
So this is now because that induction chamber is already loaded up. This is going to represent 6 damage. So if Bryce wants to take this all of a sudden, there's the first little chip, right? And he's still going to have some resources left over to load a couple of these items back up before he decides to shoot again. So this is the beginning of what Capolo is trying to do here on the game plan. Bryce is sitting at a comfortable 37 right now, but if if Dash is given some breathing room, this can get out of hand very quickly. These attacks can be coming in for 4 every
Oh,
every
definitely.
pistol hit, 5 every pistol hit, and at that point, that is just too much value off of sometimes just a single blue.
Honestly, it's really good here for Andrea. The light is shining. He can now see through the arrow storm, and getting that 6 damage here is going to be way more efficient than people think. Closing that gap. If he can do that one more time, do another 6 damage, then it's even. Just block out, pitch a blue, 6 damage. Block out, pitch a blue, 6 damage.
So let's see exactly. The thing is, at the end of this turn, you have to wonder, are they going to be even?
It is
How much can Bryce throw out here? We can assume that's an ice card in the arsenal, given that it was fused with the frost lock last turn, or this is so it's not. It's going to be a chilling ice vein coming in.
Yep. I don't think I see a fuse card in his hand, so it's probably gonna be vanilla damage. Bryce having the first non-power turn we've seen so far. He's trying to figure out how he can represent that pressure again to keep this, keep Andrea at bay. Because Andrea's in real close, and Bryce is starting to feel the heat.
Can go ahead and activate Voltaire. Strike twice. Going to load that second arsenal slot up with. Drumroll, please.
Wah, 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 wah.
Thank you. That was perfect. Best,
the
the best drum roll I've ever heard in my life.
life.
Normally people do some dumb stuff like drum on a table, but no, I wanted that from your mouth. And so we've got 5 coming in off of a heat seeker. Got to be go again. Blocked 6. So
Another chilling.
this looks like perhaps.
Oh, so much mana. That's 2 blues. All right, sending a chilling. Now that one will have go again, right? Because he loaded this one right now.
Which means he's free to get 5 more damage in here if he wishes to, or if that
That is the exact same.
At the end of the day, he does wish to.
Yep. Why not push it down a little more?
Took the whole hand. Your opponent could only block for 12, and you were able to push 15. So you're definitely going to get some damage through. In this case, it was a full 5.
Yep. Andrea's probably gonna have to draw up and pass here, but good news is if Bryce doesn't have an arsenal, is going to be limited with cards. He can play to pressure Capolo, so Capolo could have an opportunity here to boost back.
Yeah, we'll see how much damage can Bryce represent off of just a 4-card hand. He does have his tunic up, but no cards in arsenal here means without something like a bolt and shot, it's going to be challenging to get more than 2 arrows into your arsenal this turn. And so how much damage is Capolo willing to take if he does have something like a Spark of Genius or like a natural item in his hand to continue towards his game plan? But without applying the pressure that Dash can apply with something like a Teklo Pounder, it seems like sometimes you have to just hope that your Ranger player bricks and draws too many arrows or draws only pumps or only ice cards, because Bryce has been comfortably able to present a fair amount of damage on every single turn.
At least double-digit number of damage every single turn.
Yeah, and even this drill shot here is representing a 0 for 4, but if it hits, it's a 0 for 5 because you do get the block value off of the equipment gone.
Blocking with the equipment that would technically get the negative one counter. It makes sense. So drill shot always will pull those. Here is the endless arrow. Endless arrow is so annoying right now. Loading it, and I think
he's just gonna set up a 6-card hand for himself and pass the turn. So
makes sense.
If that's a Rain Razors in the arsenal there, you have to wonder if he's trying to play that out with the 3 of a kind that he's just hoping to draw. But now in this scenario, shipping back to Capolo's turn here, he had exactly a Spark of Genius in his hand. So it looks like he's going to begin by loading some items up, but then most likely go get another piece of that equipment that he needs. And that is going to be the play. He pitches in to load up the items that he already has, plays the Spark of Genius, or pitching a blue and using that final resource floating to grab a 2-cost item. The question is, does he want a Purifier or does he want an Induction Chamber? And he's going to grab the Induction Chamber, representing more go again on future turns. So he got that window. He did not get pressured for very much, only for that from that drill shot.
Yep.
So he's a little closer to utilizing blues in a way that are going to make it much more challenging for Bryce to stay alive. But at 19 to Bryce's 31, you have to think, can Bryce continue to apply that pressure?
I definitely think so. He's going to have a 6-card turn next turn. I think that Bryce saw this and was willing to give the breathing room, as long as there wasn't like pulse wave harpoons or anything that could pull things out of his cards. I think this damage is going to be crazy. We'll see if he can hit to 20 with this many cards.
So we're going to activate Lexi to flip over a Winter's Bite. So
Ooh.
he prioritized, instead of playing that Winter's Bite and playing the Endless Arrow on his last turn, he's just going to go ahead and set himself up for an even bigger turn on this one. So in doing so, he allowed Capolo to set himself up, put those counters on those items, get a second item. Because pressuring his life total or pressuring his hand there with the Endless Arrow might have done something, but now we'll see how this line of play goes, because he's going to go ahead and take a card out of the hand, take that payload with this Winter's Bite, demanding a card or paying one and giving Capolo a Frostbite. And then let's see what else he wants to do. It looks like he's going to pitch an Ice Quake to play an Ice Quake. So his next attack is going to get +3, and then every attack that hits on the chain is going to create a Frostbite.
Massive ice turn here. This is the first time I think I've seen, 3 of a kind coming down. Perfect sequencing out of Bryce. This turn has got much bigger. 6-card hand. We're going to do actually a 9-card hand based off of the 2 arsenals he started with and the 4 he drew up. So this is looking pretty grim right now for Andrea. The arrows are loaded. Andrea just has to pray that those 3 cards he drew weren't arrows, but we already see 1 Endless Arrow in Arsenal. We might see, I think, maybe a Drill Shot in hand, and definitely another Bolton shot. So looks like it's going to be a massive chain coming down through Bryce. Needing to find clever ways to reload if he wants to go even more, but it's not going to matter because, boom, Drill Shot. Go again for 7.
If this hits, create another Frostbite. You have to wonder if that Frostbite is going to be relevant, given that you have a lot of cards are going to be taken out of Capolo's hand here, and even if he does keep any, then those Frostbites are going to interrupt the turn even further. So you have to imagine most of these cards are going to be used to block on a turn like this with the 3 of a kind and the Winter's Bite and the Ice Quake. So 1 point of damage is going to leak from the Bolton shot, allowing Bryce to continue, load with Voltaire, putting another Bolton shot into his arsenal. This one's going to be coming in for 5.
Shout out to Tech Action Podcast for supplying these
amazing
Frostbite tokens. They had a fab artist, I'm pretty sure, do the art for it. You can go over to their podcast or meet Colin or any of the guys, and they'll usually have one on them, and they'll give you out for free. Coming to the Battle Hardened, they'll be there with these these as well. But absolutely beautiful. They come in non-foil and rainbow foil. I have both. They're amazing.
So this was a huge turn. Bryce able to finish the chain with that Endless Arrow after taking every single card out of Capolo's hand and leaking a total of 7 damage over the course of that turn. He's going to keep that. He's going to keep that Endless Arrow. Bryce, they're making sure his pitch deck is just absolutely immaculate, even though you have to wonder if this game's going to get all the way there.
Yep. Already pretty hard health difference right now. But Capolo we saw how much that 1 pistol can do. Now with what he has at the Steam counters and stuff, that 1 pistol can go for 9 damage. That's a big chunk.
It's a big chunk, but if Bryce is sitting at a pretty 31, Capolo's already down to 12.
That's fair.
And it's a nice chunk, and I appreciate the the respect for the pistol. The question is
optimism.
Are we going to get
always.
there? Are we going to get there?
It's very, very true.
Now, Bryce here going to go ahead and take a think. He can see that he has, you have the tempo at this point. You've taken all the cards out of your opponent's hand, but this is, the question is, we haven't really seen Sink Below's, though the turn that he had a Sink Below, he was taxed from the Frost Lock. So this deck needs to be blocking efficiently and as much as possible, and he hasn't been able to block with any cards from Arsenal. His cards from his equipment has been pressured by drill shots. It seems as though he's just been unable to effectively
another 3 of a kind
keep himself. Look at the deep inhale from Capolo as he sees
Disgusting.
another 3 of a kind. We've seen all these Rain Razors. That last turn playing out the Ice Quake and everything. It's looking like Bryce is just setting himself up to kind of get on the long road to this top 4.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Bryce playing very cleanly, I would say, making sure he's setting up correctly and to present these massive turns. So we're going to have the Pulse of Volthaven buffing this up to 7.
This time it does not look like a fuse, but you don't necessarily need a fuse when you're coming in with that pulse, so it's already buffed up by quite a bit. 1 damage going to leak through after the 2 blocks from Capolo, allowing Bryce to continue with his turn. 31 plays 11.
Capolo being as efficient as he can with his blocks. You don't want to block 9 on the 7 because then potentially you take more damage to the next arrow. So blocking 6 here is very respectable and doing the best he can, but You can't do more than that.
Yeah. So now this is going to be a Pathing Helix. It's just going to come in for 4. There's no on hit really relevant because that Endless Arrow is already sitting there. Looks as though Capolo's going to just take another 1 from it. Just has to block as much damage as he can, preserve as much life as he can, which means this Endless Arrow very well might come in and connect, allowing him to basically keep it in his deck. Looking like he's deciding if he wants to throw it out here. Looks
Bryce
like
looking through his deck,
Yep.
or his graveyard. A lot of cards in there, Bryce. The thing also with the 3 of a kind is it does accelerate your game. You can sometimes get just run out of arrows. But I don't think Bryce is too much in that position. He's just trying to think about what kind of threats left he has in his deck, what he can set up, what he can draw next turn. That will be more of a confirm rather than him. Because no matter what, I don't think Bryce would be able to kill him this turn. I think that,
yeah. Well, this is going to be the last. If he
Yeah.
throws this arrow here, it is the end of the turn. He has no way to give this go again. He has no way to reload because he used the bracers. And that bracers play at the beginning got him 7 damage through. The thing, we also saw 2 of those codexes get pitched in the first 2 turns of the game. So if the game
True.
does end up going long, that's a way to draw yourself an arrow back from your graveyard. And there are 2 of them back to back. So,
Yep.
if this game does go that long, that is going to be a way for Bryce to grab. I've heard that card's pretty good.
It's really good. Giving them a frailty, recurring something from your graveyard, getting a ponder token. Books are great.
Books are great.
Books are
You
great.
heard it here first, folks. Books are great.
Books are great. Yeah, definitely. I think really smart on Bryce. I think a lot of people might have tried to play them out early to put some pressure, but pitching them so your graveyard could fill up and you drawing them within the second cycle is definitely a big brain move.
My first seed, we got a big brain guy right here.
Big brain.
We got big brain Bryce.
Capolo, pass, redraw, once again, just a brutal turn. Having to block out, it's hard not blocking out the 3 of a kind turns. It's hard not blocking out the Rain Razor turns. It's just because they can present so much damage. Not blocking out just feels bad. Bryce lining it up. Capolo at 9.
Starting off with an Ice Quake, this is most likely going to buff his next attack by 3, and it looks as though from after that last turn, he elected to put the Endless Arrow back into his hand rather than keep it in his arsenal, because I think it was a Bolton Shot left in his hand. For an exact situation like this, it's going to allow him to play a Bolton Shot and have it be buffed by the Ice Quake, thus giving it go again. If I am correct, I might just be completely wrong about what that last card is. And in that case, strike everything after hello.
No, I'm definitely seeing the Endless Arrow, and I'm seeing the Frost one to give 3 Frost
Arctic
bites.
Incarceration.
Yep,
I
Arctic
think.
Incarceration. The Cold Hug.
The Cold Hug. That's a way meaner way to say that card. I'm going to play Cold Hug, take 3 Frostbites, and
you can't play your turn.
Yep.
Sorry. We got to hang out.
We got to hang out, and this is a Cold Hug.
Gonna be doing some Lexi reveals, possibly. What would you be revealing here?
If it is the Bolton Shot, and I don't want to talk about it if it's just not what that card is, but if it is the Bolton Shot, you can just play it without revealing off the Lexi and perhaps save the reveal for later. And it looks like he is just going to play that. Now, if this somehow hits, which, that deck is full of 3 blocks, probably not going to hit, but if it somehow hits, you could reload that Arctic Incarceration.
You could.
Flip it, because you didn't use your flip already. It's a once per turn action, so you can activate Lexi, flip the Arctic Incarceration, give 1 Frostbite, and then chain end with 3 more. But at this point in the game, Frostbites are nice, but you're really just wanting to apply pressure.
Definitely.
He's at 9.
And seeing Capolo's hand from this side, he drew these a little too late. I'm looking at 2 unmovables, maybe a reinforce the line.
Yeah, you don't want those in the same hand.
1 attack action. I don't know what that other card is. Maybe not reinforce the line. But 2 immovables here is rough. He can immovable this though right now. Easily. Very easily.
Yeah, that's same as, 2-3 blocks. You use 2 cards on one defense reaction. It's a similar way to go about it.
All right. Making a decision. There's the red immovable.
Is this going to be pitch and unmovable to play? Yes, it is. Pitch an unmovable
Red,
plus.
red, and
Oh,
a boost.
unfortunately, it's going to be hard to pay for this one. You can take 2 cards to pay for it. So now Bryce is looking at all of a sudden seeing a bit more of a green light. The question is,
Does this have go again?
This one does have go
Because
again.
it has a buff, the attack.
This one does have go again, but I believe he only has the 1 arrow in his hand here.
Correct.
So he can still end the chain with that Arctic Incarceration, but what does it do for him on this turn? Capolo's only got 1 card in his hand.
Makes them feel bad.
True.
It's just a dunk. It's just like, here, and here's 3 frostbites. Your turn. But saving it might be good too.
Well, I mean, his items are all loaded up, right? So
Yeah, it's true.
the question is, he's going to most likely load up the Endless Air here. The question just might be, does he want to make it for 5 or does he want to make it for 4?
5.
Okay.
More damage.
Oh, well, he hasn't activated Voltaire yet, so you definitely want to give it a go again because
That's fair.
I don't,
Then
unless it's a sink below, you're most likely going to be able to get this across, get this through.
Yeah, he's still scarred.
Draw
from
that
the
back
last
into your
one.
hand and and then do another plus, +1 off the Voltaire at that point, and then it's coming in for 5. Looks like Bryce deep in the tank, thinking about if that is a sink below or not. It has to be what he's thinking about here. Does he want to throw it out there?
So I think this is his last Endless Arrow, maybe? I've definitely seen one before this. Was blocked by the sink below. Saw one earlier, which I think was actually blocked out, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's
So
most
this
likely
is-
his last.
It's most likely his last one.
That was there's our Levia player in the back. Apparently he did
Alan
not
Chavez.
succeed upon his game. Alan
There's our Dorithia player.
Chaverin. Yeah, and I think that was the game. The Arya and Alan there.
Yep.
He is going to be coming in with the Endless Arrow, though. Looks like it does just hit right off the bat. And he looks like he made it for +1. So that was coming in
Genius.
for 5.
This man's a genius. I knew it.
You did. You nailed it right off
There's
the
that
bat.
damage.
Yeah, so that Endless Arrow came in for 5. Capullo looks like he just arsenaled and passed.
Bryce, I don't think Bryce wanted to see this hand at this point in time. It looks like a lot of non-attack actions. It looks like Arctic, the lake, and
The lake?
The lake.
Come on, man.
The cold hug.
You know the name of
the
that card.
lake.
What's the name of that card?
I know the pictures.
Come on, brother.
Channel Lake Fridge.
There it is.
There you go.
All right. Oh, we see one attack, and he Channel Lake Friendship. Yes,
Yep,
of
yep, sure.
course. Shout out Yuki Lee Bender on Twitter. So this we do see one of the Channel Lakes. This is gonna be fused with that Channel Lake. So this is coming in for 4. Every hit takes a card out with the pay 1 or discard effect. But again, Capullo here, unfortunately, sitting at such a low life total that if you're Bryce, you're just throwing damage for the rest of the game until for some reason your hand doesn't allow you to do so because you have your opponent so low that they don't really have the luxury of that fabled pivot turn, do they? They are
Nope.
nope.
Nope. This is like it's called. It's like, now I think he's in like arrow lock. Every arrow he has to respect because every arrow is 4.
Yeah. And it does look like Capullo, he had a game plan. He had something he wanted to do into this deck, but a lot of it didn't line up at the right time. Whereas
Yeah, it's stacked really weird.
yeah, the sink below on the Frostlock fuse, the 2 unmovables in hand, you have to pitch 2 to
So he gave him a hug at the lake. John spotted lost. We just got a word from our producer.
Alejandro is going to be moving on in the Azalea mirror there.
Bryce gave him a hug at the lake. It was very cold, so Capullo cannot do anything. He's so in shock.
Mm-hmm.
All these frostbites.
And played out that Arctic incarceration. So even though he left Capullo with cards in his hand here, he is working with 3 frostbites plus a Channel Lake Frigid. So whatever that first action is going to cost 4. And then the further action is going to cost 1 more.
The Madman's going to pay it. He had 2 blues.
So we're going to do something on this turn. We're not going to use our cards for nothing. We were left with cards, so might as well use them. Going to go ahead and load up the induction chamber. Clearing the frostbites. He's got 1 floating.
Now he's going to be like an old Western. He's going to just, on the, like the back of the barrel, just like.
Go ahead and, yeah, well, except he's just going to shoot the 1. Because that Channel Lake Frigid is going to stop anything
very
else on
true.
this turn. So this is just going to be 2 damage. Bryce didn't think that long about taking it, given that he is at 31 before the pistol shot and is now at 29. So he's going to go ahead and put that tunic back up to 1, working with another 5-card hand, that very familiar Endless Arrow at this point.
It's never ended. It felt like this game.
never-
I've always seen it on the screen.
It
This has
has-
been the
yeah.
same arrow the entire game. it feels
Truly
like.
truly endless, this arrow. I'll see myself out.
No, you're good. I appreciate you.
we've got a Winner's Bite in hand. That is going to immediately take a blocking card out of Capolo's hand here. Question is, when does Bryce want to sequence it? Does he want to do it at the top of the turn? Does he want to rip out the last card if he's able to put himself in that position?
Yep.
As you said, every arrow that's 4 or higher demands some kind of respect here. So this could be the turn that finishes the game.
It's really interesting because Bryce's threat density seems to be kind of thinning out because he's not getting those 3 of a kinds, those Rain Razors. He's mostly getting his delay cards, like the Arctic Incarceration and the Channel Lake Frigid, right?
Mm-hmm.
But as pointed out earlier, he threw the Codexes in the pitch, so those are massive threats.
Those are coming back at
those
some
massive
point.
Threats. Makes the arrow even more endless.
So he has to pitch into this unmovable because of the Channel Lake Frigid even more. And here's the thing. It looks like this Winter's Bite is going to close this game out here because...
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, because he can just pay with the one off the floating.
The
It
floating,
looks
correct.
like even Bryce might have just... he might have just... realized,
He's like, yeah.
"I've got 2 floating.
Yeah.
He's got 2 floating, so
Yeah.
he didn't quite lay it down yet.
That's why we got the big dice.
Mm-hmm.
It really helps.
Shout out this crazy little YouTube channel, 3 floating for those dice.
Appreciate it. Shout out LSS for sending them and supporting the boys in the neighborhood.
The boys in the neighborhood, that's us.
Yeah.
And it looks like he's going to go ahead and he's just closing the chain, electing what else he wants to do. Capolo with 1 card left in hand and 2 floating. That was great. We in real time with Bryce realized, oh wait, he's got 2 floating.
Yeah, yep.
He's going to go ahead and activate the Quiver of Rustling Leaves. Look at the top card. It is not an arrow, so I don't think anything happens.
It's the hug. Keeps flipping up and down. Oh, he's reading it for Capolo. New card alert. Understanding has been found.
Understanding has been found. And today we are closer to a more perfect world.
Where this endless arrow never dies. You go home, you find it underneath your pillow. It's just always there.
Has to block just the 3 here. And he does have the Reinforce the Line.
Beautiful. Another
Nice.
new card alert. This is a new meta tech I've been recommending to most people because of the dominate and no defense react things. Reinforce the Line gets around that. It's an instant speed 0 for 4. The only caveat is that you have to be blocking with an attack action, and it buffs the attack action by 4.
Wow. It's by 4?
By 4.
Dang.
It's really good. It's really good against Guardian too because they can usually like a Nothos or swing a hammer and tear asunder, and they usually get it. But with Reinforce the Line, you can block all of it, no problem, which is super great. Definitely good in Azalea as well, who likes dominating things.
Capolo here once again just having to draw up as that was absolutely able to stop the Endless Arrow and stop the rest of Bryce's turn. So he's going to go ahead and looks like he's going to motion to activate Lexi Livewire. Now, is the Quiver destroyed?
Quiver is only destroyed once you find the arrow.
Really?
So if you fail to find, it stays.
Wow.
Correct. So it guarantees you the arrow at some point, but you still have to
Oh,
pay
wow.
into it. Yeah, it's a lot better than I think people
Wow.
originally read it for.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. I feel like I used to do it better. Wow.
A better Owen Wilson.
Wow. Oh, wow. Wow. All right.
All right.
It's pretty bad.
All right. Okay. Didn't get the job. All right.
All right, so we are going to flip over the Arctic Incarceration. We're going to give a Frostbite.
We're gonna give 3 more Frostbites.
We're just going to play the Arctic Incarceration and pass the turn, question mark?
I think that's play it, load, then pass. So you can
Load again, then pass? Wow.
Yeah.
That is what it's going to be.
I think
So-
he did the best he could there.
Yeah, I mean, so like you were saying, the deck getting a little thinner.
Oh, almost
and
drew a 5th card. It's okay.
the-
Judge Evan.
Judge Evan with the hook up there. making
Honestly,
sure
like
he
just walked
doesn't-
back into scene and immediately fixed it.
Just making sure he doesn't draw 5 there. Wow.
Yeah.
He's having a little laugh.
Oddly laughing at 29 too.
Sheesh.
I'm having a fun game.
Yeah, looks like Capolo here just going to go ahead and let those Frostbites break and pass the turn. So Bryce going to Tunic up. he's looking for, I think, like you talked about, like it's a little less about throwing a couple arrows because he's got to make sure he has the threats left in his deck. We know the codexes are coming, but one big turn here, one unconnected arrow can be the difference maker. So it looks like he's playing towards that kind of a
There you
turn.
go.
This is going to be a Rain Razors off the rip.
Interesting to play at first. I wonder. Witch's Bite.
This is going to take a card either way. Pay a resource or discard a card. So there's one card that cannot be blocked with on this turn. There's 3 life. Put it into the graveyard as he discards the Combustible Courier. Let's get that out the deck.
Get it out. Throw it.
Going to activate Voltaire, strike twice. This is going to be a Pathing Helix for 6 with Go Again. And again.
You're going to demand 2 cards. Andrea, being at 4, doesn't want to take anything. Concerned about the Endless Arrow. Reinforce the line. A little over blockage, but it's okay. Still good. 0 for 4. All right.
Going to close the chain.
That's good. Codex.
Codex, which is going to give a Frailty, give a Ponder. He's going to go grab another arrow, most likely Bolt and Shock, because it will have Go Again. It will come in for 6, and that should be the game here, because this will be damage.
Endless Arrow. Yep, there's the Bolden Shot, as said.
Unless one of... Now, he had a Sink Below on one of these 2 turns, and if it's the one in his... No, wait, yeah. He could be at...
6.
One, if that is a Sink Below in Arsenal, he can go to 1 here. If he blocks with a 3 block and has... Oh, no, because it's Rain Razors. So
Rain Razors is up there, yep.
It's going to be 6 out of the Arsenal. It's not going to be 4 out of the Arsenal. So
Rain Razors is good.
This should be the game.
Is good. Did have the Sink Below.
Here's the Sink.
Dream is alive.
Sink a card. Take 2 damage. Come in for
sink.
another 6.
It's not going to be enough.
That's
Block
Pulse Wave
3.
Harpoon. That's the end of the game. Bryce going ahead and taking this one. Comfortably sitting there at 29 life. Looking at his opponent. With you know what it looked like he was saying? Wow. Wow, big open mouth.
Oh, yeah. But everyone going home happy. Everyone got some money today. Great performance from...
Everybody got money?
Everybody got money in the top 8.
Oh, in the top 8. I was saying, you're walking around giving everybody money, and I didn't get any money?
I'm sorry. I missed you. But everyone in the top 8 going home with some cash. Always fun to come out and play. Thanks, Andrea. Thanks to one of the first-round top 8ers for trying their best. Let's talk about what's next, what the bracket has gone to now.
Yeah.
So we've got the Levia out.
Levia out.
So Dorinthia's going through.
Dorinthia going through. We know that the Azalea made it, but we know that it's
Azalea
Alejandro coming in. There was a deck list error from the other Azalea, so there was an IP2 to start that game. And
that's a rough one. And as Azalea, you and that.
What is it about these Azaleas in these major tournaments with these IP2s? We saw it with Levi. We saw it with this tournament.
I mean, it's kind of hard sometimes when you're putting together a deck and you're in your head about it so much, and then you put it together and it's like, I missed something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and take a look at the bracket because it is ready, and I can't find the button.
Boom. Got the button. So we got Bryce, obviously, with Lexi versus Dorinthia with Aria, and then
which will be a rematch of a game we saw in the first round in the Swiss rounds. We did have Bryce and Aria on stream. That was the turn with the crazy turn 1 from Dorinthia. So Bryce will be looking to get a little revenge in that game.
A little comeback. And then on the other side of the bracket, we have Azalea by Alejandro versus Andrew Rudin on Jeremiah. Andrew, I talked to him a little bit before this, was not confident that he had the mental capacity to play the mirror.
He was devastated he had to play the mirror.
Yeah.
Devastated.
Yeah, but definitely it's going to be great. He's here to stay. He's here to win it. I don't think he's won an AGE, or any of these people who are in top have won AGE yet. So we're going to have a brand new AGE champion by the end of it, no matter what. No one coming back to take it. It's going to be a different person every time.
That's true.
So much talent out here. It's not just people farming. It's people playing with all their heart.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
It's so true. It's so true.
That's beautiful, man.
Nice.
I do want to say, I think with the discourse on Dromai over these last couple weeks about it, we did have 2 Dromai in the top 8. We have a Dromai taking on Azalea in this next game. I'm going to put that into my vote so that we get to watch that game because I want to see what happens. Andrew's been a very committed Dromai player for quite a long time. He dabbled with the Iris, but he's been pretty, steady on those dragons for quite a while. I know he was really excited. This will be his first Azalea matchup of the whole tournament, and he was really curious how that matchup was for him. He feels really confident into it, but he didn't get a chance to play it up until now in the Swiss round. So top 4 is a great time to prove your mettle. And so
he dodged 5 he dodged 5 Azalea that were in the bracket. That's
all 5.
impressive.
Yeah, he didn't
Right.
he didn't play any of them.
Well, now he's about to figure it out. He's gonna be forced in that matchup. I think going into top 8s from now on, you should expect that you're probably gonna hit in Azalea. Azalea is gonna be breaking into your top 8s. You got to be ready. Go get your friend on Azalea. Get some games in on the kitchen table. Get familiar with it. She's going to be here for a bit.
Yep.
She's going to be here for a bit. Very strong. Codexes are good.
Codexes are good. We're going to go ahead and take a quick break.
Yep. We're going to take a quick break. I'm out for the day. I really appreciate everyone coming and watching. For all you guys are, I know I reached out to as many Discords as possible to show you guys some of these fun games over on the West Coast. Thank you again for coming out and giving me the time. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys next month. Be sure to tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun.
And you'll see them all when they all come out for the Battle Hardened.
Yeah, and the Battle Hardened as well.
When you all come to
Wait,
the Battle Hardened.
I think we have a little slide,
info?
a little info slide.
It's over there.
It's over there. The Battle Hardened Los Angeles on the West Coast. I think the only one we've seen on the West Coast so far. So come out, enjoy, get that gold foil, get that prize money. There's Blake. Say hi to Blake, everybody. Oh, you're going to see him next round. Go to the website at AGE events. You can buy your tickets. They are up, and there are tickets up already for the next arcane games and events.
Yeah, it'll be a Battle Hardened and an AGE Open on the second day with a $2,000 prize pool. So come get your money.
Yep.
Come throw down with some of the best per day. $2,000 per. Sheesh. Yeah, it's $4K over that whole weekend. What are we doing?
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun.
Come hang out. It's going to be gorgeous. We'll all hang out.
Oh, it's a beautiful venue. We the last one was
Josh is
there
giving
as well.
everyone money. Didn't you hear? Everybody's getting money.
I'm gonna have some form of stickers, maybe.
Stickers and money.
Stickers and money for sure.
Yeah.
Giving out people, just having a good time.
Well, we will be back momentarily in a couple minutes for this next round in the top 4. We will see you shortly. Don't go anywhere.